Skill-based matchmaking has got to be one of the most controversial topics in the gaming community. I say gaming community, but really, it's more of a collection of loosely affiliated tribes separated by a philosophy about how video games should be made, played, and enjoyed. If it weren't for this screen dividing me from my fellow gamers, I might be mobbed and killed for a given opinion on a given day. A toxic attitude commonly adopted knowingly or otherwise by content creators and mirrored by their followers to an extreme extent. Let's get one thing straight right now. This is my opinion, which I am welcome to. I don't care if you don't like it. You are welcome to your opinion, and you shouldn't care if I don't like it. We should care about whether or not our opinions are based in fact. Now let's get down to business. SBMM is fundamentally an attempt to create an environment of fairness for gamers. Its purpose is to prevent you from feeling like you're getting stomped by better players. I would guess that developers view SBMM like a Little League sports system. You have the 5-year-olds playing t-ball, when they're 11 and 12 they play in majors, and when they're 13 and 14 they play in juniors. That's how it works in Little League baseball, because you don't want 14-year-olds running all over 5-year-olds. Pretty common sense, right? We'll see about that. SBMM can take into account all sorts of data to assign you a lobby. KD, score per minute, win rate, kills per minute. Some argue it even takes into account inputs per second, i.e. how many buttons you press on the keys or the controller. The game knows how better players move around the map and theoretically could adjust your weapon damage or health on a micro level during a gunfight in real time to either handicap you or give you a slight advantage. These are all speculations, however, conspiracy if you will. We don't know how SBMM works in Call of Duty or other games because they don't tell us for obvious reasons. If they told us how it works, we could circumvent it. The only way we know how to circumvent SBMM is to reverse boost, which is when you purposely play badly to get yourself into easier lobbies. But that only works to get a good game every once in a while. Anyway, when you think about how far SBMM could go to adjust your gameplay in an attempt to equalize the outcome of the game for everyone, it's pretty scary. If you get nice and conspiratorial about it, the game could be playing us rather than us playing the game. But let's forget about that for a moment because I think there's an even more fundamental problem with SBMM. A problem with the integral point of view of the implementers of SBMM. Dr. Disrespect posted this tweet. Played Modern Warfare 2 for the first time yesterday. I can honestly say the game feels good. From map design, audio, UI, flow, etc. it feels solid. But it's amazing how SBMM ruins the entire experience. 100 Thieves Nicewig replied he's an Apex pro. He says SBMM has been rough for a real long time. Now this sentiment is echoed by many gamers, but it's a response to this tweet from Reddit that I want to focus on. This Redditor says, the concept of SBMM isn't the problem. COD's way of handling it is so aggressive that most average people will be in a constant loop of going back and forth between a noob stomp to being in a pro level lobby. This Redditor is correct that COD implements one of the most aggressive SBMM systems of any game, one which results in the ping-ponging of good players. But then he says something I 100% disagree with. He says that ideally the skill of all 12 players in the lobby should be equal. I've heard this from so many people who hate COD's SBMM. I too hate the way COD does matchmaking, but the idea of equal skill in a lobby is absurd to me. The fundamental purpose of SBMM is absurd to me. It occurs to me that what the developers really want in their games these days, their ideal world of gaming, their virtual utopia, consists of a community of gamers who all have a 1 KD. That's what it would look like if SBMM worked perfectly every time you queued into a match. You would get a kill and then that person you killed would kill you next time. A perfect trade. If two people of the exact same skill fight each other, the match ends in a draw. Now tell me what in the hell is the point of that? Is COD not a competition? Is there not a versus in every match? Are the words match, game, round not indicative of a test of skill of two teams trying and fighting to figure out who exactly is better than the other team? Is there not a winner and a loser at the end of every TDM, domination, hardpoint? People often say, it's not competitive, man, it's a game, it's for fun. What is fun about a participation trophy? What is fun about getting a 1 KD? What is fun about getting the exact same result every single time? Nothing. This is what would happen if devs were able to implement SBMM perfectly every single time. This is why I'm against SBMM, period. Now in reality it doesn't work like that. 1, because they aren't able to perfectly quantify every data point. 2, because they have to balance SBMM with queue times. And 3, because people are ultimately unpredictable. So the majority of players who have an average KD, which is about 0.8 to 1.2 approximately, get bounced around from bot lobbies to pro lobbies. The players who are bad at the game stay in the low levels and occasionally have a good game. The pro level players stay at the pro level lobbies. My personal experience with this beta from Modern Warfare 2 is this. The first few games I played, I had an average KD of around 3. I play video games all day, every day, so I'm pretty good at video games. But after those first few games, my experience changed dramatically. Now 4 out of 5 games I feel like I'm competing in COD champs. I'm desperately trying to maintain just an even KD against players who are all the same skill level as I am. We all use advanced movement, they all know how to play COD at a high level like I do. We bunny hop, we camera, we hit our shots, there is zero room for error. So now for the last few days, I would bet my KD averages around 1.8. This is crazy, and let me tell you why. This effectively determines your KD by what lobbies you get put in. Like I stated earlier, the goal is to get everyone to a 1 KD. This is done by putting everyone in lobbies of a skill that is equal to their own. So now the only way to get a KD higher than 1 is to be even better than the best people that SBMM can find to put you against. In other words, you have to be insanely talented at the game to counter SBMM. Let's say my friend Bob is a bot. But because SBMM only gives him the other bots to fight, he has a 1.2 KD. I am not a bot, but I also have just above a 1 KD. On paper, we look like equally skilled players, but put us in a 1v1 on Rust and I will win 9 out of 10 times against Bob. SBMM basically renders KD useless as an accurate measure of skill. Okay, so that's why I believe SBMM is a bad system for matchmaking. It reduces trust in the outcome of the game because there's no way to measure your own skill. Am I good, or was that just a bot lobby? Am I bad, or was I just fighting the pros? It also makes competition boring because no one wants to see all the matches end in draws. It's also just plain bad at doing its job, ping-ponging players from bad to good lobbies. It also punishes players for improving. Oh, now that you've gotten better from practice and developing your skills, you can slug it out with an artificially created, statistically inaccurate representation of the player base. Being above average is a bad thing in COD because of SBMM. This is why people reverse boost and use VPNs. So after hearing all that, you might assume that I'm against being challenged, and I just want to stomp people who play the game once a month so I can feel better about myself. You couldn't be more wrong. The people who know and play with me could tell you that I'm one of the most competitive people in this community. There's nothing I value more than a good skill gap and learning curve. If there's ranked game mode in a game, that's where you'll find me. Pub stomping's not my thing. It's boring and it means nothing. Succeeding against players who are worse than me is not a good feeling. I spent 700 hours in Apex grinding ranked because I love improving myself and seeing the results of my hard work reflected in a better ranking than I had before, fighting higher and higher skilled players. So what is the solution? Just take out SBM entirely? Well, sorta yeah. The idea that everyone should be the same skill is stupid, naive, and boring. But I do believe we need protection for noobs. My friends who only play COD once a month should not be playing against me. They won't have fun and neither will I. So remove SBMM and instead implement a playtime-based system for matchmaking. We can call it time-based matchmaking, TBMM. Players who play once per week or less should be grouped together, and players who play more than once a week should be grouped together. We could even divide it a third time by players who play more than 3 times a week. But we shouldn't get too specific here, and here's why. Getting specific with matchmaking requirements, like playtime and skill level, ends up just being an undercover ranked mode. Guess what? If you have played the last few Call of Duty games, you have been playing ranked this whole time without even knowing it. Using SBMM, they group us together based on our skill, and if you get better, you get a new skill bracket. That's ranked. How about instead of making a casual game mode into a fake ranked mode, why don't we just have ranked mode? How about we reward players for putting more time into the game and improving by letting them see just how good they are? Give us a ranked mode like it's in Apex. Let us see how many points, kills, objectives, assists, score per minute is worth. Let us strive to be better and know exactly how to improve, and let us climb the ladder. What is so scary to them about that? What is so hard about that? I am sick of hearing about SBMM and how it ruins the game. I'm sick of hearing people complain about it because they suck. I'm sick of people complaining about it because they're too good. Can we just fix it, please? You won't lose players, COD. I know that's what you fear. You made it big back in the day when we were all just thrown together based on region and ping. There's no reason you can't do this again now. Stop trying to coddle us and start making a good game. That's your job. Our job is to play it. Let's do that again. 14-year-old baseball players get their own division because they have an unfair advantage against 5-year-olds. Like people using cheats have an unfair advantage against clean players. 14-year-old baseball players get their own division, but in that division, there are good players and bad players. Players who will go on to play in high school and college. In COD, there are good and bad players, and there are those players who can play ranked and those who could be pros. Don't forget that even if you're an average player, that doesn't mean you'll get stomped by better players all the time without SBMM. Sometimes you'll be the best in the lobby and get kill streaks. Sometimes you'll be at the bottom because others are better than you. There's nothing wrong with that. The illusion that you should always be in the top middle of the scoreboard is eating away at the competitive integrity of video games. Instead of wishing you could play against easier lobbies, work to be better. And without SBMM, you would see the results of your effort. In a randomly selected lobby, statistically, you will find success and failure. Yeah, failing sucks, but it's way more interesting to occasionally fail and occasionally succeed than to always be average. Thanks for watching this video to the end and listening to my rant. I tried to encompass this issue entirely and comment on everything pertaining to it, but I am human after all and could have made a mistake. I'm genuinely interested to know what you guys think about this. Did I get something wrong? Do you agree or disagree? Leave a comment, or better yet, join the Discord and have a better conversation. And remember, we all have the right to an opinion. I'll see you later.